I'm here, everybody. This is the after party for our Epic Collection announcements. I hope you were all here for the over on the Near Mint Condition live stream for our Epic Collection announcements. Let's see. Big thanks to Omar for letting me on that show. We're going to talk about Epic Collections here as well. I'm going to go over the ones that we just announced over there so we can get a little refresher. And then I want to hear from you to know which Epic Collections that you are most excited about. And I'm even going to put the little link into my chat here in the comments so that you can join me if you are up for that kind of thing. So check out the chat if you want to join me, then that's cool. Okay, let's see here. I have to figure out how to share my screens so that we can see some of these. Bear with me as I try to figure this out. I don't usually share my screen, so I'm figuring out all of this at the same time. Share window. There we go. I think that's it. Now, if I do presenter, then I won't be able to see. Anyway, we're just going to stick with this just so that it makes it easier for myself. We talked about the She-Hulk Epic Collections, Volume 3, Breaking the Fourth Wall, the John Byrne stuff. I'm just going to run through these, and then we'll talk to some of you people out there. Iron Man Epic Collection, Volume 5, Battle Royale, numbers 47 to 67, continuing on from the chronological start. Tales of the Jedi, Volume 2, collecting more Star Wars from the mid-90s, from the Dark Horse era. A new line, Ghost Rider Epic Collection, Hell on Wheels, Volume 1, collecting the early years of Ghost Rider. And then in June, we've got Clone Wars, Volume 4, tons of Clone Wars stuff. Volume 8 of Amazing Spider-Man Epic Collections, featuring the first appearance of the Punisher. Although they don't put Punisher on the cover, on the front or the back at all. I thought that was kind of interesting choice. New Mutants, Volume 8, The End of the Beginning, featuring the tail end of the New Mutants run as it runs into X-Force. 90s Wolverine goodness. This is the feral age with no nose. You know that part of a Wolverine, even though they're featuring a Wolverine with a nose on the cover. Tooth and Claw. Some more Generation X. I'm always happy about that. And in July, we have some more Star Wars, Volume 7 of the Empire. We'll go back through these in a little bit more detail. I know I'm rushing through this, but we just saw this in great deal in the Near Mint Condition page. So, or if you're watching this after the fact, you can just pause to get a good look at this. Power Man, finishing up the Power Man and Iron Fist series with Volume 4. It's nice to get that complete. Avengers Volume 8, filling in the gap that we have between Volume 7 and Volume 9. This is the Celestial Madonna saga. Captain America Volume 11, Sturm und Drang. This is the end of J.M. DeMatteis's run. This is filling in a gap as well between 10 and 12. That's going to give us an 11-volume run of Captain America Epic Collections. 11 volumes in a row. Pretty cool. August. Star Wars Legends, The Menace Revealed, Volume 3. This is one that we already knew about, but here it is again. Doctor Strange, Volume 10, Infinity War, with the incorrect cover. That's a cover from an older series. But this is the Infinity War era, so the middle of the 90s. Fantastic Four Epic Collection, Volume 8, Annihilus Revealed, collecting Fantastic Four, 126 to 146. And then last but not least, Daredevil, Volume 12, the beginning of Ann Nocenti's run. So, let's see. What do people have to say here? Wolverine with no nose, how does he smell? Terrible! Oh, there, he got the punchline in there as well. Okay, hello, I'll be getting 7 of these books announced. How many are you going to get? Are you going to get all of them? Let me know in the chat. I know someone in the other chat said that they're going to get none of these books. I'm like, well, what Epic Collections do you collect? Someone asked on Omar's stream, but there was no answer. It will be nice if Marvel released some big events epics. What do you think about this? Yeah, I mean that would they would have to set a precedent for that because they haven't done that yet. So something like, oh yeah, people are saying like Secret Wars. Where did that comment go? Yeah, I would love Secret Wars as an epic collection. That would be cool. And you could even do, 2 volume set. The first epic is Secret Wars 1, next is Secret Wars 2. Would you include all of the tie-ins in that? Yeah, you could do that. Well, M. Smith says he or she, they're getting 13 of these epic collections. Going for Generation X. That's awesome. DD Volume 12, long overdue completion of Ad Nocenti's run on Daredevil in a collected format. I can't believe that it's a significant chunk there, and it's never been given an omnibus or anything like that. It would be good to get an Ad Nocenti omnibus, I think. I was happy with these announcements. The Daredevil and Cap were some of my most wanted. Ghost Rider was a nice surprise and a definite pickup, and also getting Wolverine and Gen X. I'm going to put the link in the comments again. If you want to join me on my live stream here and actually talk to me a little bit about what you're looking forward to, then you can go for it. What else is it? People have definitely getting Generation X #2. Waited for those sweet 90s Marvel UK epics. Yeah, so far we haven't had any Marvel UK in epic format. We've had a Death's Head complete collection, and we got that one called Marvel Frontier. But yeah, we could use some more UK stuff. That's stuff that I'm so unfamiliar with just because it never really made it to this side. I'm loving I have the Transformers UK collections from IDW, and those ones are really fun. I just love that it's such a different feel than what you get in American comics. Steven says, I'm getting Spider-Man Aiden. That's it. Bit disappointing at this time for Steven. Still no Master of Kung Fu is upsetting. Yeah, what's going to happen with that? Riker says, I'll get them all. I want to watch this so bad, but I have to work now. Yeah, sorry, Alex. This is kind of an awkward time in the middle of all of our work day, or the beginning of my work day on the West Coast here. But I gotta go with what when Omar sets the schedule. I'm excited about this Fantastic Four volume. I love Fantastic Four, and I've read all of this is the one long-running Marvel series that I've read from issue 1 all the way to current. And but these issues in the middle, they are not the most memorable. At least I don't remember them. So I'm really eager to revisit them and read them all over again because I like experiencing new things. And then there's also this material this Giant Size Superstars #1. I have no idea what that is. So that means that there's new Fantastic Four material that I haven't read before. And that's always exciting too. Nick says, I get up at 2 a.m. for work, so my day is done. Nick, what do you do at 2 o'clock in the morning? Drive buses or something? No, buses don't run at 2 o'clock in the morning. I am getting everything except Spider-Man 8. And I'm guessing maybe you have the omnibuses. Yeah, you have omnis for the X titles. Yep. So that's pretty good. Will we get Daredevil reprints? Well, we have a Heart of Darkness reprint coming up later this year. Or did it just come out? I can't remember. Let me check my spreadsheet. It says we have a Daredevil reprint coming up. Heart of Darkness is coming up in February. There we go. So that's cool. I hope you can get that one. Otherwise, yeah, we haven't had any more reprints announced this time around. But here, has everybody seen my wonderful spreadsheet where I'm tracking all of the content of these? Let's see if I can make this smaller. This is my visual representation of the Epic collections. So you can see I've numbered all of the volumes here. And we can see where the gaps are. The 70s, there's a big gap in the 70s, but getting pretty colorful. And yeah, we have this big run of Captain America that's being filled in here. Oh, look at this. Someone's taking me up on my call here. Let's hide this comment. I have Riker Donegal. Explain your name to me. What does your handle mean? Because I know that's not your real name.
You can call me Michael if you want. Riker is Riker from Star Trek.
I figured. That's the only Riker I know.
And Donegal is where I live. It's the county here in Ireland where I live. So Riker Donegal. That's what Riker Donegal means. That was super quick. I just came into the studio. I was like, last time I was waiting a while and I was watching the show. This time I'm like,
well, I noticed you pop up right away. Tell me, which epics are you excited about? You just said in the comments that you're going to get all of them, but what's like at the top of your interest?
Ghost Rider is brilliant. I'm so happy about Ghost Rider. I went up and got between time my four Ghost Rider essentials, and I have the originals from 35 up. So I'm a long-time fan of this series. The early issues, that this epic has what I think are terrible issues. They're so terrible that they're so bad it's good, that they're bizarre stories that just frustrate me but entertain me, and I can't wait to finally, for the first time, read them in color, because I obviously have them in black and white in the essentials, so I've never read them in color.
Interesting. So that's good.
Brilliant. So Ghost Rider is top, but you guys had a great, like, I'm not into Star Wars, so all the non-Star Wars stuff today was fantastic. Just perfect. Any Spidey is good Spidey, so I'm excited about Spidey. It's 8 instead of 6 is what people want, but I don't care.
16. Yeah, people wanted 16.
Yeah, or 16. Yeah, whatever people are looking for, but it's all good as far as I'm concerned. It's all good Spidey. Generation X is a title I know nothing about, but I'm excited because it's ahead of me as I use the complete Marvel reading order to get there. And speaking of that, I actually finished New Mutants 7 a couple hours ago. I read the last issue in that, so it'll be a long wait, but I'm delighted that issue, or volume 8, is joining the New Mutants. And as you said, we're only a couple of issues from completing that.
Yeah, for New Mutants, there's just volume 3 and 4 are the last 2 New Mutants that haven't been announced yet, and so I mean they do one of those a year, so they'll be pumping those ones out. So we'll have to.
And speaking of finishing lines, Power Man Iron Fist, we knew it would come eventually, but finally it's here, and that's that nice set, that nice 4-issue set complete.
It's very nice. And so, yeah, and like Omar was saying, once we get that second volume of Luke Cage, that's actually the full complete series, because, of course, Power Man started at issue 50. Yes. Power Man and Iron Fist started at 50. So it's not technically complete, but it is complete.
Yeah, exactly. In terms of the numbering, issue 1 to 125, it's not complete. But yeah, in terms of the branding, Power Man Iron Fist, it's complete. But yeah, once we get Power Man 2, and they are great issues. I have those, of course, in Essential, and I love that solo Luke Cage Power Man run. And then it segues into the series, which for most of the run, I think is a great series. I'm not hugely a fan of those final issues. It's kind of like Ghost Rider. Not overly a fan of these issues that'll be in this 4th epic, but that's not the point. I'm just happy to have them again, have them in color, and just to reread them at some point in the future.
Let's see. Joe Cool says, are the Power Man and Iron Fist epics still in print? I believe the 3rd volume is, and the 1st volume got reprinted just recently, so you should be able to find that. I don't know I can't remember what the status is on the 2nd volume, but if you see them, you should get them, because if they're an interest to you, who knows when they're going to be reprinted next. Reprints are always a little spotty.
Definitely. Yeah. But yeah, they're all exciting today. I mean, I am very excited about She-Hulk. Those are great issues. The Byrne's first short run, that's really exciting to have that. I have those original issues, but I just love epics. I love the epic, and given the choice for reading, I always, if I have, the original comic, I always go to the epic. It's crisp, it's clean, it's not an omni, it's easy to move, you can read anywhere, you can read outdoors. I
Yep.
love them. So She-Hulk, excited about that. Every one of them today that's not Star Wars, and I have nothing against Star Wars. I'm just not a collector. Every one of them, I'm like, yeah, big time. And I collect all the epics anyway, and I have to date a complete collection, excluding Star Wars. So I was going to get whatever came out today, but there's nothing today for me that getting it's a chore. It's like none of these. I'm excited. I'll be really pleased to have all of these in my hand. Great. Next summer's going to be fun. Next summer's
Yeah,
going to be.
I
And the
agree.
only
It's gonna be
disappointing,
great.
and you've covered this, both of you covered it very well. But I actually thought Master of Kung Fu was probably being held over to the movie, held back to the movie. I was wrong. I've said that a few times, but clearly that's not the issue. So yeah, I was disappointed that they didn't pull the trigger on that. And you guys covered that in your
Yeah.
video. Yeah. So that's the only disappointment. Because Ghost Rider that's a big plus. That's a big plus.
It's a big plus. Both She-Hulk and Ghost Rider are two series that are kind of long running. It's like, yeah, we got Killraven last time and like Morbius, but those ones are like, give or take. But these ones, more long running, like, they're not the A-list characters. These are the B-list characters. They're not the
Hmm.
C-list ones like Morbius or even Generation X
Yeah.
is probably down there.
And while and while there are definitely fans for Killraven, I think it's a very good series, and I presume Morbius as well. I've read good reviews of it. I've never read it. There weren't people, to my knowledge, necessarily calling out or clamoring for them in the same way that Ghost Rider and
Yeah,
She-Hulk, together with Spectacular Spider-Man, is another one where you
yeah,
have a lot of people on the Facebook group, on your Facebook group, our Facebook group, on various other forums, on underneath videos that Omar and yourself put up. Ghost Rider comes up a lot, and She-Hulk came up quite a lot too. They were ones that people want. And again, as I say, nobody's clamoring maybe for things like Omar mentioned Sleepwalker today. That's a series I really love. I love it, but I'd love to see those again. I have most of the original issues, but I'd love to see epics. But I'm not clamoring for it. Ghost Rider is one of the ones that people were
yeah. I think as far as remaining long-running series, Captain Marvel is the one that should be next on the list because we just got Namor as well, which people were asking for because that's sort of a core part of the beginning of the Marvel universe. So, but Captain Marvel's the last one, and then people are also they keep bringing up Alpha Flight, so I think that one should be
yeah
coming down the pipe at some point as
yeah
well. But we had a question here from Jose, who says, "Do you think Marvel should really focus on finishing some of the first lines by doing like 3 or 4 books a year before starting other new lines?" And while I would say probably yes and no, did we really need Morbius and Killraven, for instance? Like, are those taking up valuable slots where we could be inserting another volume of Captain America or something like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, and I'm not the way you guys are up to date on the Marvel Masterworks. I wouldn't be. So you have a better idea than me as to what is primed and ready to move over into epics. So I don't know how the slots go. I don't know if it matters. I mean, if it's X number of slots, and if 2 of them go for Morbius and Killraven, then yeah, that's probably a bad thing for people who are more interested in collecting every
Yeah.
amazing lady but I don't know enough about it. I don't know if it's down to the number of slots. I mean, it's almost weekly releases, isn't it? Really, you're getting 4 a month by and large, aren't we, more or less?
Yeah, well, sometimes even 5,
Yeah.
because they have increased the number of epics that are coming out a year. Every year, it just goes up a little bit more of how many are coming out every year. Now, I will say though that the considerations, a lot of the considerations that Marvel is making, are to do with the way that the book market works, opposed from the way that the comic market or the direct market works,
Ah,
because um, publishers like bookstores like in Canada here in Indigo or Barnes and Noble, they have limited shelf space for graphic novels. So they are not going to want, you know, 10 amazing Spider-Man epic collections on their shelf at one time. So
Doesn't make
they are
sense.
very particular. Like when like Penguin Random House will say, you need to put a 9-month gap between your releases, because we don't want to have to constantly be sending those books to those shelves, because they're just going to sit there. They take up space. They would rather have a variety of books on their limited graphic novel section, rather than it being taken up by
Yeah,
Conan
of course. Yeah,
omnibuses or
of course.
whatever.
And for casual buyers going in and seeing the exact same book every, it's like, well,
Yep.
that there. I was here 3 weeks ago. I was here 6 weeks ago. That same Spider-Man book was here. It's not, it's definitely sending the wrong message. That does make sense. Yeah. Whereas
Yeah.
a turnover is a great thing in a bookstore.
Yeah. So putting out 3 or 4 books a year, I don't think that will happen. It is happening with the Conan the Marvel Years or Conan Chronicles. They seem to be pumping out those ones, but I think they're having to take different considerations into account, like just the speed of how, like, because the licensing agreement is for a finite period of time,
That's,
so they
yeah,
need to.
yeah.
So that's a different situation. So my guess is that maybe bookstores won't be ordering all of those books, because they're like, I just ordered Conan. I'm not going to order more Conan, especially if it just sits on their shelf for a long time. So that's always interesting to keep in mind, because there are other factors besides just what the fans want. It's like they have to bend to the wishes of
The
what the
marketplace and
distributor says. Yeah.
yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, and the fans there's a percentage of fans that are vocal. We're part of that vocal fandom and we think we're everything. But in terms of the percentage we are, now I know it's reasonably sizable with regard to epics, but we're not every fan. We're not everybody. And still there's more out there that buy the books, but aren't maybe visible online and don't, say and don't, speak up.
Yep. But I will say, though, that Marvel has been pausing some of their lines where they could be moving them forward. Like, let's say Defenders, for instance, we got 4 years in a row where we got these 4 volumes of Defenders and then nothing. It's like that. In that case, why aren't you? That's not a distribution issue, unless they're taking the omnibus into account. But I can't. Like, it's a different market. I think different audience.
This thing has come up before, and it's this thing, like the 70s in particular is sort of very light on representation in the epics. So they've catered to the 60s and the 80s and 90s, early 90s into the mid 90s. So it's like there was like 2 starting points, isn't this sort of two starting points for the epics under 2 sub editors, where you started with 61 and moved up, more or less, and you started with 85, 86 and moved up. So the 70s kind of got lost because of that methodology. But we're now at the stage where, in the next couple of years, right, we should be, there's nothing else left pre-85 except the 70s, really.
Exactly.
So we should see the Defenders 1 to 4. We should see, dare I say it, Spectacular Spider-Man and Marvel Team Up and more 2-in-1. Now, that's another disappointment today. Now, a minor one, I'd say, great selection today, but I'm really keen to see 2-in-1 continue because I love that series so much.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing to remember, is that there's a specific editor for the 60s and 70s eras epics. So that editor is going to work with the sales team and saying, I want to introduce a new line. It's going to be Ghost Rider. And then the 80s and 90s editor is going to work with the sales department and say, I want to introduce a new line. Can we do She-Hulk Volume 3? So they're kind of, they're made together with the sales department, but they're also, separate editorial decisions.
That makes a lot of sense. And when you only look at the 60s and 70s as one unit, it definitely makes sense to focus on the 60s first. And that's what happened, and mostly release them chronologically. That's just the best way to deal with that material. And it just means that the 70s, and we're doing these have been coming out now for what, 7 years? So 7 years to cover that entire decade, and a fair bit of the early 80s is good. I think it's great. So now we move into the 70s and we'll see those Defenders and we'll see those other missing.
Well,
Like you mentioned, Captain America as well.
yeah,
Isn't that's another one that's ignored for the 70s?
it is. But look how much 70s is represented in just these announcements. We got 1, 2,
Yeah,
3.
yeah,
That's the 80s, I think, by that time.
yeah. You're right. You're right. It's
4,
84.
5. We got
So it's
5
happening.
volumes
Yeah,
here. That's the 7 from the 70s.
yeah.
That's a lot.
That is a lot, and I'm admiring. I hadn't really noticed the cover. I love Tundra, mostly from her Marvel 2-in-1 appearances, but that's a great cover for Fantastic Four Epic
And I'm
Collection.
glad that they're using the era specific logo. This is the first volume that'll have this era specific logo on there, and I was wondering if they were going to change it or just use, because which other volume? X-Men didn't bother using their era specific logos for the
Really?
first
Okay.
couple of volumes, because
Ah,
where are my X-Men? Because you know how X-Men had that original logo at the very beginning,
I'll.
because they're
Yeah.
just
Okay. Ah,
they didn't bother to use the original X-Men logo
gotcha.
for the
Gotcha.
cover of this
Yeah,
book
yeah.
here. For the first couple, actually, the first 2
That's
volumes could have had that logo, but they decided not to do that.
completely passed me by, and because they tended always to pretty much use the logos that were of the era. I never
Yeah,
realized that the X-Men was an exception. That completely was under my
but I
radar.
wonder if it's so iconic,
Very iconic.
and it lasted for so long. It once it got to this logo, it didn't change
Mm.
for several decades.
Yep.
And Fantastic Four is the same way. It's only a very short period of time where they had a different logo, and then they went back to the
Yeah,
classic one
yeah,
forever.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's interesting, and as you say, they are going with the era's appropriate or correct logo here.
Yep.
Never noticed the X-Men. It's funny what slips on you. You think you know these things about the epics, and then you realize no, not really. There's a few things that they just didn't do the way you remember or expect.
Axel says, when can you pre-order these May-August epics? We're going to start, I guess, we're going to, the next round of solicitations, like in the Diamond previews that'll come out, we'll have the May epic collections, I believe. And then you just got to keep on following the months. So next month that you can pre-order the June ones. Actually, but probably within the next month or so, they should all be online. They should all be online, like on Amazon and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, things pop up pretty. They pop up pretty quick. Like I use Amazon sometimes and Book Depository most of the time, and they'll be there for pre-order for that.
Yeah, but as far as the final cutoff dates for comic shops to order, that's the May date should be coming up pretty soon, I believe. Phil says for the with the Defenders, he thinks that they are waiting for the Omnis to sell out, and that could be very, very true. That's very possible if they want to see how well that one does before printing more of the same material. Yep.
Of course, yeah, makes sense as well. And that's another thing I don't follow. I don't collect Omni, so I don't factor that in at all. And of course, makes perfect sense. They're not
Mm-hmm.
going to completely smother the market with too much of the same material at the same time. It wouldn't make sense.
Here's a question for you, Michael. What is the epic you most wanted that has not been announced?
I'd say, along with a lot of people, Ant-Man 2,
Yeah.
because I have to say, I really love the stories in Ant-Man 1. Like, I love those stories. I thought they were, they're not the best representation of the 60s, early 60s or whatever, but I just thought they were so much fun to read. And I finished it, and I'm anxious to move on. I know there's only a few left, and then it
Yeah.
kind of like a 70s run, which I've read somewhere and is not good. And probably somebody said that in our group that Black Goliath will be obviously included in, that was a good series. Chris Claremont, that was a good series. So yeah, I would love that would be it for me. For you, Kurtis, where would you say is the one from that list that you're?
Well, if I'm going with the ones that Patrick has listed here, I would have to say Ant-Man 2 as well. Like you, I also enjoyed those stories. If you listen to my podcast episodes on that first Ant-Man epic collection, we just have a great time going through those stories.
Yeah, I think I did. while ago,
But
yeah.
if we're not talking about, if it's just like, what is any epic that I really wanted that was not announced, I would probably have to say, that's a good question. I really want to finish. There's one more volume of the Tom DeFalco Fantastic Four that's left to complete his whole
Okay.
run. So I would really, but we got 2 volumes kind of back to back of Tom DeFalco, so I think they'll give that one a little bit break. But I would also like the last Steve Englehart Fantastic Four volume, the one that will bridge the gap between Englehart and Walter Simonson's run.
Yeah, they're
So,
very strange comics.
yeah,
Yeah, I have those original comics, and I recently reread them for the blog. I review Marvel comics on my blog, and I reread them, and they are, because of all the stuff, as you know, behind the scenes that was happening. Englehart made some very strange choices. They're definitely an entertaining read, but possibly not because they're good, but they're an entertaining read to figure out some of the stuff. It would be great to have them in epics. Yeah, it would be great to have them in epics. You're right. I think that question too, I know for me, and because it depends on where you are reading. I'm reading 1990, 1991 primarily at the moment. So for me, I just want selfishly all those epics to be, I want New Mutants 8 to arrive at my house tomorrow, so because I can start reading it, and I want all the ones that I'm reading first, selfishly. So again, Ant-Man 2 fits into that because I know it's the early 60s. I'll read it as soon as it comes. I'll be reading it the second it comes in. Like, I'll just meet the postman and be like, just reading it. I'll be like, I'm reading this, starting with it. I'm going to read that first story.
Okay, so the question here is, I love this intro. Dearest Epic Messiah Kurtis.
It's a good title.
Since the Doctor Strange cover was incorrect, what do you think is going to be the cover that they'll use for this epic? So let's check it out. 34 to 47.
Yeah,
Let's go through these covers and see what works really well.
good idea.
37.
I took a look at the 37.
Here's a good bet.
Yeah,
Because of Adam Warlock, I think this is
a
a pretty good bet since Adam Warlock is going to be playing big in the MCU coming up soon. Oh, my computer is slow. That one has Scarlet Witch. That would be good.
That's another possibility. And they do, as we said before, they like these covers sometimes that have another prominent Marvel hero on the image.
That's right. Okay, so let's go back to, because I was going backwards. So this is 37. It has Silver Surfer on the cover. That one's okay. Although he's really small, so I don't think that's a good
I looked that up earlier because I thought it was just a simple mistake from 37 to 37, but that 37 doesn't strike me as a good cover.
That one has Scarecrow.
No. Doesn't seem like an obvious choice to me. Maybe to you, Kurtis, I don't know, but it just doesn't seem like a...
No, I don't think so.
No, Scarlet Witch or Adam Warlock would be
sorry,
good options so far.
My computer's acting slow. It's trying to load the next page. There you go. That one, probably not. Doctor Strange isn't big. Daredevil, that one doesn't have Doctor Strange very prominent on the cover. He's kind of in a... I don't know if that one would work. But I mean, it features the other character. Wolverine, that's a better one. But again, Doctor Strange is kind of small in the cover, so I don't know.
Yeah, it might just... Like, yeah, it wouldn't...
Galactus?
Ooh, that's a
that one's not bad.
That's a lovely cover.
If we want one that just features Doctor Strange, we could go with something like this. Although there is a cover that's very similar to this one, just in the other Epic collection that came out recently. Where did that go? It's very similar to this.
Oh, okay, yeah. He's sort of caught and falling.
Caught in a vortex of some sort.
Yeah,
yeah. Juggernaut, probably not. They tend to not pick the covers where the hero is at a disadvantage.
Okay.
So that...
And Juggernaut's a big name, but he is a villain, and it wouldn't be the same as... It's like with Scarlet Witch is hot, and Adam Warlock will probably be a hot character. That's a great cover.
Yeah.
That's a great cover.
This one's a possibility with... how do I make it bigger? with Scarlet Witch
Oh, yeah.
and
There's a
Dr.
lot
Druid
of great
Agatha
covers.
Harkness. I could see that one.
Yeah,
Whoops.
yeah. There's a lot of great covers in this run. Yeah. And I haven't read this run. I wasn't collecting Doctor Strange at all, so these are all new to me. These were all brand new to me, and I'm enjoying them. What I've read so far, and I got the most recent one, Doctor Strange
nice.
Epic, and they're good. Like Thomas brings a lightness and a irreverence to Doctor Strange. He's more humorous than he ever was. All of the characters are sort of quipping, which they never did in that title.
I think Thomas is the one who's written Doctor Strange the most, because he's been on Doctor Strange for a few different runs for a long time. So I think out of all of the people who've written Doctor Strange, he's got the most history with the character. So that's all the covers. I think probably that Adam Warlock one would be my guess. It prominently features Doctor Strange and also a character that we know is going to be popular in the movies coming out, and it's just a kind of a cool looking cover as well.
I do agree. It'd be great if there was conflict there and we could, to drive the viewing figures up if we disagreed and fought. But I think you're probably, I'd be like, you're so wrong, Kurtis. You're crazy. But unfortunately, I think that would be my pick as well for the exact reasons. And if not that, Plan B or back cover might be Scarlet Witch. That was a good cover.
Axel says Quasar epics. That'd be good. If we could just get Quasar in a couple of epic collections, that'd be fun. I'm hoping that he shows up in like Guardians of the Galaxy at some point. Like, let's get some more of these cosmic characters.
Yeah, any of these or a TV show, like it worked for She-Hulk. So yeah, I love that Quasar series. I have all but one issue. I think it's one issue I'm missing, and it's a great series. Mark Gruenwald just having fun being Mark Gruenwald and being Marvel nerdy as he really got a chance to do a lot of things in that book. It's a good book. It's a really, really good book. I'm rereading it at the moment and loving it all over again and wishing it was in Epics. But I mean, the comics are great, but I wish it was in Epics.
Well, Michael, I'm going to let you go because I got someone in the queue here now. So thanks for chatting with me. It was great.
To chat to you as always a pleasure, Kurtis. Always. I'll be watching for the rest. Take it easy.
Awesome.
Man.
See ya. Hello, Philip. Welcome to the show.
Good evening, Kurtis.
Nice to see you.
And you?
So tell me, Philip, from these epic collections, what most excites you here?
It's very hard to say because I'm excited by an awful lot of what you said today. The Spider-Man, the New Mutants, the Wolverine, the Power Man, Iron Fist, woo, range completed. The Avengers volume. Oh, the Avengers one is huge. That's 2 older trades off my shelf.
Yeah.
Plus a few issues in the middle that have never been printed in paperback before. Plus it makes a nice big run of Avengers volumes. Plus it means the next early Avengers volume is going to be a huge one with the some big Korvac and Knights of Wonder stuff.
That's right.
So yeah, that's tick 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 tick. It's right up against one of the earliest epics, which has been sitting by itself for so long, and now it's part of a larger run.
Very true. That's really cool. I forgot about the Korvac saga. That's and especially I could see Korvac being introduced into the movies as well, because he's one of those kind of characters, since they're going in such a cosmic scope, that he could play big into whatever storylines they're going to.
Yeah. The Captain America volume's another big tick. I mean, I've got Death of the Red Skull sitting on my shelf downstairs, but another one in the epics. And my word, I hadn't realised quite how huge that Cap run had got.
Yeah, it's huge. It's amazing. 11 volumes, and I can't remember. Let's see. I got my spreadsheet here. That'll take us from issue 247 all the way to 419. It's almost 200 consecutive issues of Captain America in a row.
Yeah,
that's just amazing.
And it'll bring Cap down to needing just 6 more volumes.
Yeah. So, and that'll be easy to track because we'll get one new volume, which will probably be volume 20 and 21, and then it's just these ones in the 70s that we have to carry through. I don't
Yeah,
know why they're delaying the 70s so much. With Captain
weird,
America.
weird. A lot of it, 5, 6, 7's already been printed in the Engelhart volumes and the Kirby volumes, but yeah, there hasn't been an early Cap epic for I don't know how long.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you when Captain America 5 was
4.
out, or 4, yeah. Captain America 4 in 2018.
Ooh,
That was
that's
a
a
long
little
time.
while.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. But the FF volume I'm really excited about because it's got 4 of the earliest FF issues I ever read in it.
Oh yeah.
There's I'm going to have to get the FF covers up in front of me now so I can tell you which ones they are. Bookmarks, comics. Come on, Mike's FF. There we go.
Oh, it says I think Big Viz says I think they'll use one of Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Dusty Death covers. 2 main characters, iconic pose, and painted. I forgot about those. I didn't even consider those when talking about the Doctor Strange covers. But yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. I've got a friend who's a big Doctor Strange fan. He'll be really, really pleased to see that volume. So,
yeah, continue. Do you have those covers?
Yeah, I've got them in front of me now. The first issue of FF I ever read was 136. And it was reprinted in one of the Marvel UK reprint titles.
136.
Yep.
What does that one look like here? Ah, the Wild One cometh.
It is a bit of a wacky issue from what I remember. But,
That's awesome.
Yeah, I can't remember.
It's always great when you get that first volume, the first comic that you read, and it's like you know it so well because it's ingrained in your mind, but seeing it in Epic Collection will be a different experience for you.
Yeah.
The colors will be clean and the pages will be white.
I've never owned it in color. It was a black and white Marvel UK comic.
Oh, very different.
I've got it sitting there in the essentials, but that's black and white as well.
Amazing.
And then I read FF 142 to 144 in the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends title. Again, 83, 84. And yeah, they're really good. It's a very, very silly Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom revenge plot. I like that one.
Nova Epics. Nelson wants Nova Epics. That would be cool. They did print that whole run in the classics, Nova Classics. But yeah, you could do it easily in 2 epics. That would be good.
Yeah.
Cannot wait to get Silver Surfer number 5. Yeah, 6. Okay, so yeah, Riker says 6 left for referring to the Captain America stuff. That's if we can still get 2 Captain America books every year, we could have Captain America done in 3 years. Like that's pretty good.
It's mad.
Yeah, and you know that's just it blows my mind that we're at that point now because when we were collecting these right at the very beginning, or at least I was right at the very beginning, it seemed so far away because they released pretty quickly. They released Captain America number 22. This was one of the very first epics, Captain America epics. I'm like, holy cow, 22 volumes? This is going to take forever. But now we're on the other end where we're actually seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's pretty darn cool.
Yeah. It's also 22 at 2 volumes a year is 11 years. And you think, wow.
Yeah, well, we're at 8 years, I think, now of Epic Collections because they started in 2013.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to get the Iron Man date in front of me. Oh, no. No. Oh, if only I could use a spreadsheet properly.
Patrick says, with the new announcements, who will have the most volumes? That's a great question.
I think
haven't
it's
done the tally.
It's probably Avengers still. Or, yeah, Avengers has 18. Spider-Man has 17, Thor 16, FF 15, Cap has 16 as well.
Wow, that's amazing to me as well that we have so many volumes. It's just wonderful. This is great.
Yeah. No, I looked at these announcements and I thought, wow, there's just about everything that's come out this time is stuff I really want.
Yeah. Yeah, all of these ones are like there's. I mean, it depends on which eras you like. You could say that, oh, I don't really care about this era of Wolverine, but this is significant too because there's stuff that hasn't been reprinted before.
Yeah.
So like that's, if we're talking about the purpose of the Epic collections of reprinting unreleased stuff, like this is a good volume to have, even if you're not so keen on the content, because like this. Some of this stuff has been reprinted over and over again.
Oh yeah.
Like Burns She-Hulk.
That ASM will sell gangbusters. That's huge.
Yeah, I've got a wall print of this cover, the original cover, on my wall, just of Hammerhead crashing into the spider buggy.
It feels quite odd because there's nothing here that's really set a curveball as to how we map the rest of the volumes. There's nothing that's gone boom. Oh, that's completely spoiled everything we've got written down.
Yeah, I think at this point we're pretty safe with like it's just going to. We've got the gaps small enough now that it's pretty easy to determine.
You can start to make guesses.
Yeah, pretty accurate guesses. The only real questions still are like, what's Spider-Man going to do after volume 26, Life Theft?
Yeah.
Are they going to go into that era, or are they just going to stop? And then, of course, what is X-Men going to do after volume 20? But even that one, X-Men has been mapped pretty, I don't know, pretty significantly in trade and in a few different omnibuses after volume 20. So if we were to predict, we could probably get a pretty accurate picture of what Epics would look like after that.
Yeah, I think the most fun those of us that try and guess what they're doing is going to have is from the She-Hulk and the Ghost Rider.
Right. Yeah, or like if they're going to continue Morbius, we could guess about that. Will they do all of the Midnight Suns tie-ins and all that kind of stuff? And so there are a few places where we could guess. Or what does Hawkeye #2 look like?
Yeah. Well, I can't remember exactly where Hawkeye 1 finished. Did it get to Solo Avengers or not?
We did not get to Solo Avengers with Hawkeye, so
Right.
that'll be volume 2. Will be mostly Solo Avengers, I think.
Yeah, because I look at the She-Hulk and I can think 25 issues in Savage She-Hulk, about 20 issues per Epic collection. There's 15 or so issues that you've got to fill in that second She-Hulk epic.
Yep. And then we'll loop back to the very beginning as well. So I think I think we've got a good run of She-Hulk coming up. I'm really excited for the She-Hulk ones because that's stuff that I've read some of the Byrne issues, but really not any of the original Savage She-Hulk run, and nothing past Byrne. So this is I've read the Howard the Duck issues that are in the Howard the Duck complete collections. So I've read those ones.
Isn't there one in an Excalibur issue that's Thurman wrote?
There might be Excalibur. Yes, She-Hulk number 26 is in volume 3. I haven't read that one
Yeah.
yet. Can't say.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got the two old Byrne volumes sitting on my shelf downstairs, but
Zach says that the She-Hulk graphic novel wasn't listed in Epic number 3. You're correct, it
Yeah.
wasn't.
that'll be a definite for Epic 2.
Yeah, I think because you had thought pretty hard about this online,
Yeah,
and you were
let me
thinking
grab
that
the list up.
because the Savage She-Hulk series is too big for one volume of Epic Collections, but it's too short for two, so they're going to need to pad out that second volume. And since the She-Hulk graphic novel plays into her role with the Fantastic Four, they might put some
Epics.
Fantastic Four highlights in there, right?
She-Hulk, yeah, something like that. Let me get this up in front of me.
Nelson has the same question. He says, I don't know what they will fill the second Epic out with.
Yeah, right. So she's got, there's a Marvel 2 in one issue, which has got to go in there because that closed out some stuff from the first series, I think.
Yep.
Avengers 220, where she joins.
Yep.
I can't think of any other Avengers issues that really prominently feature her. There's a 11-page B story in FF 265 where she joins the FF after they come back from the Secret Wars. And FF 275 is a very She-Hulk centric issue with somebody taking paparazzi snaps of her.
Right.
Which
yep.
I think would probably be in there. Then, really oddly, she's in 3 graphic novels on the trot in the mid 80s. One of which is the She-Hulk, but the other 2 don't quite fit in elsewhere. There's the Aladdin Effect graphic novel.
Right, yep.
Which she's in quite prominently, and Revenge of the Living Monolith, which I think we've been looking at and trying to find a home for. It's sort of an FF tale, and it's sort of an Avengers tale, it's sort of a few people, but nobody has got a real home for it to go in. So I'm seeing lots of space, I'm seeing lots of things that could fill it, and thinking, yeah, maybe that could go in there.
Axel says, is She-Hulk in any Marvel Comics Presents? And yes, she is, but I believe not till like maybe the late 80s or early 90s.
There's an MCP issue in She-Hulk 3.
Yes, yeah, there's one, but I'm pretty sure she's in more than just that.
Let's have a look. No, I didn't buy much Marvel Comics Presents beyond the big Wolverine stories, I'm sorry to say so. But the 80s 90s She-Hulk series is 60 issues. You got 12 in the first volume, so that will leave 48. Yeah, 48. I have got a maths degree, but it doesn't show sometimes. That's 3 volumes, so you're going to be looking for a little bit to plump that up a bit as well, I think.
The collector made it. Thanks for showing up, even though you're late. That's okay. He says we need Punisher. We need some more Punisher epics. And yeah, I expect we'll get one for 2022 at some point, but it hasn't been announced yet. So that'll probably come in the next round of announcements. Punisher is another book that is very close to the end, I think. We need volume 1 and we need volume 6. And then we need, I think, volume 8 and 9. There'll probably be 2 more volumes of Punisher at the end there.
I reckon 9. It gets a bit crossover-y towards the end.
Oh yeah, because there's like Suicide Run and stuff like that. We're gonna, and then because there's 3 Punisher titles running at that time, so maybe there's a 10th volume in there. So maybe we're a little further off than I thought.
Suicide Run and Countdown to finish it off, and then maybe the Punisher Volume 2 or 3. I can't remember which numbers on it from the early 90s.
Right, yeah, and there's like 18 issues of that, so that would go in one full volume. I was
So you
and then he had like giant size back to school specials and annuals and stuff like that too. I'm
and
kind of disappointed.
Marvel Knights after that.
Yeah, that's right, Marvel Knights. I wish that they had put the Punisher Armory issues in the Punisher line. They didn't include any of those, and while there's no real story or anything in those ones, it'd be kind of a neat backup or bonus feature. But maybe that's just too much content because there's like 6 of those. And then also there's a microchip miniseries in here somewhere as well.
Yeah. But they could slip those Punisher Armory stuff into Marvel Universe handbooks if they went that direction, because it's sort of weapons and hardware which Marvel Universe has done some volumes on.
Yeah, and there is an Iron Man armor issue called the Iron Manual, which would be the same kind of thing, all specs and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
that would be cool. Nick Jonas says, I would like a NAM epic line. Man, I would too. There are just some really cool. Here, let me see. I made my own epic collection of. I want to show this off here. Of Semper Fi. I think it's Semper Fi. How do you pronounce that? Fi or Fi? But this is a 9 issue series of the Marine Corps, and it follows one specific family because throughout their generations they had many people in the Marines, and so there are some of these tales are in Korea, some of these tales are World War II, some of these tales are like the Revolutionary War, and so it's just a really cool title, and they did little things like this all the time, and I love to see that collected more. This is how I'm doing my Alf Epic collections with just dust jackets over hardcover, and I'm sewing the issues together.
Do you want to come and do my ROM issues?
Maybe I'll offer that service when I get more practice. I'm still afraid of totally ruining the comics. This one turned out actually really nice, but I messed up on my Godzilla volume 2. It didn't. I mean, it's not bad. I just when you have to trim the edges so that they're not all. I just trimmed it the wrong way, and so it doesn't look as nice. But it's still readable, functional, but it's not as nice. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? This stream has gone for about an hour. I think we should wrap it up.
Cool.
So I thank you, Philip, for joining me, and Michael for joining me as well. These epic collections, I'm going to show you the list just one last time as we sign off here. May, we get She-Hulk, Ghost Rider, Iron Man, and Tales of the Jedi. That's a good month right there, with 2 new lines starting in that 1 month. June, we got Clone Wars, which we already knew about. It was bumped to June, plus Spider-Man, New Mutants, Wolverine, and Generation X, with Wolverine and Gen X having material that has never been reprinted before, so that's significant. July has another Empire volume, plus the end of Power Man Iron Fist, Avengers, which is a gap filler, and Captain America, which is a gap filler, giving us 11 volumes of Captain America all in a row. So very important month, I think, right there. Very significant. And then in August, The Menace Revealed Volume 3, which we already also knew about. It just got bumped to here. Plus Doctor Strange Infinity War, Fantastic Four Annihilus Revealed, and Daredevil, which is significant because Daredevil is the beginning of the Nocenti run with material that has never before been reprinted. So a lot of great content, a lot of stuff that people should hopefully be happy about. But yeah, I am very excited for 2022. It is looking like it's going to shape up to be an excellent year for epics.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah. Okay, Philip, say goodbye. See everybody.
Goodbye.
See you later.